The bus rumbled through the desert, its tires kicking up a cloud of dust that shimmered in the pale light of dawn. Sarah sat quietly by the window, her forehead resting against the cool glass, as the vast barren expanse unfurled before her eyes. Each bump and jolt of the journey seemed to dislodge anxiety she fought to suppress. A heavy unspoken burden pressed on her chest, mirroring the boundless horizon outside. She sighed and adjusted her scarf, seeking warmth against the desert's morning chill across the aisle. An elderly woman carefully opened a well-loved Bible. Her fingers danced across the pages with familiarity and tenderness, as though reacquainting with an old cherished friend. The sight stirred a longing within Sarah, a deep yearning for connection and peace. Lord of mercy, she whispered, a tentative attempt at prayer. Her heart felt as parched as the desert landscape, craving the solace that only releasing her burdens could bring. Though her mind searched for the comforting words of Psalm 23, a psalm her grandmother often recited in troubled times, the reassuring verses remained elusive. As the sun climbed higher, it gilded the sands with a warm golden hue. The bus hesitated to a stop at a solitary outpost, and weary passengers stretched their cramped limbs. Nearby, a cluster of desert shrubs danced lazy in the gentle breeze. Sarah found a seat on a worn wooden bench, pouring tea from a shared thermos into a small dented cup. A stranger appeared, moving with an ease that seemed to defy the harsh surroundings. His face was calm and his eyes were warm, drawing Sarah's attention. "Do you read the scriptures?" he asked, his voice a gentle melody amid the desert silence. Sometimes, Sarah admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. She averted her eyes, afraid that revealing too much would give voice to her hidden fears. "Let me share a verse," he offered, handing her a small card. She read the message written there: "The humble shall be lifted." Lingering in the desert's tranquil silence, after he returned to the bus, the card's words reverberated through Sarah's mind, awakening an unexplored truth within her. Retreating to a quiet corner, she allowed her heart's crisis to pour forth like the tears she had long withheld. "Dear shepherd of my soul," she prayed earnestly, "I am lost and burdened. Guide me to the truth I fear. Help me find the courage to let go." By nightfall, a gentle rain began to patter against the bus windows, their rhythm a soothing lullaby. Sarah watched the droplets race each other down the glass, discovering an unexpected peace in their improvised dance. As the bus rolled onwards into the night, she became aware of an undeniable to breathe, mingle with the sound of the raindrops, stealing herself with a deep breath. Sarah turned to the elderly woman who had shared the verse earlier. I need to confess something, she said, her voice woven with vulnerability. The woman listened with an expression of compassionate understanding. Her silence provided a sanctuary in which Sarah could unburden herself freely. Each word spoken felt like a stone lifted from her heart, her spirit soaring with every confession. In revealing her struggles, Sarah discovered that humility was the strength she had unknowingly longed for, a strength that empowered her rather than diminished her. The lifted continued its journey through the desert. Sarah felt a newfound lightness, her burdens now mere shadows swept away by grace. The once barren landscape seemed to awaken, vibrant and alive, mirroring the transformation occurring within her heart. A new dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of promise and hope, casting a warm glow upon her face. In that still, sacred moment, Sarah offered up a prayer of gratitude and resolved. Holy One, thank you for hearing me, for lifting me as I humbled myself. May I walk in your light, carried by your strength. Gracious Lord, in your presence I find solace and peace. Grant me the courage to walk humbly. Mercy in the morning light, cacti, floor dusted beginnings. In the pre-dawn quiet of a small immigrant bakery, Anya worked with the rhythm of a familiar dance. The muted city hum seemed distant beyond the comforting scent of dough, rising in the dimly lit sanctuary. And you stood among flour sacks, her fingers expertly kneading each press a heartfelt prayer. Guide my hands, Holy One, she whispered, tracing a cross in the pliant dough. The warmth enveloped her, promising sustenance and grace, as if God Himself shaped each loaf. As the sun's first rays painted the street, Anya's competitor appeared at the bakery door. His own bakery, silent lately due to Anya's growing fame, reflected the hardship etched on his face. Anya, sensing his burden, turned inward in prayer. Shepherd of my soul, teach me mercy. Her heart aligned with each need. reaching out in silent compassion. With dawn's full embrace, Anya felt a growing heaviness. Sails slow and doubt looming, retreating to a quiet corner. She confessed, Lord, I am lost. Show me trust in your mercy. Kneeling on the cool tiles, her heart opened and peace whispered through her like Psalm 23's promise, restoring her soul in sacred stillness. Sharing bread, resolute after prayer, Anya returned to her work inspired. She gathered warm loaves, each a benediction, and crossed the street, leaving a loaf at her rival's door. A silent peace offering, Yuri, watching from afar, approached, gratitude softening his features. Why? He asked, his disbelief evident. Because mercy finds the lost heart. Anya replied, feeling truth resonate. Hostility between them thawed. Past grievances crumbling under shared humanity's gentle weight. An attentive bridge toward reconciliation formed. Lord of mercy, guide our hearts to forgive and share. Teach us the gentle strength of your love. Fill us with the courage to reach across divides, that we may walk in your light each day. ashes. The sirens had long faded into the velvety backdrop of night, leaving the air heavy with the acrid residue of smoke, a pungent reminder of chaos and devastation. Jack stood immobile, his eyes glued to the skeletal remains of what once was a family home, now a silhouette of charred beams and ash. The fire had been unrelenting, an insatiable beast that spared nothing in its wake. Jack's smoke-stained jacket was a testament to the peril he had braved, wading through the inferno to pull the family to safety. But the fire's merciless fingers had reached farther than his courage, and not all were saved. The rain began its descent softly, a gentle patter that seemed to soothe the parched, scorched earth. Each drop felt like a tender caress on Jack's weary skin, yet his heart remained tightly wound, a knot of survivor's guilt resisting any attempt at unraveling. In his pocket lay a small drawing, its edges singed by the fire. It was a child's drawing, simple, etched with innocence. The child, a girl no older than 10, had pressed it into his sooty hands as she was whisked away by the paramedics to safer ground. Beneath the muted glow of a solitary street lamp, Jack unfolded the crumpled paper. It depicted a family, stick figures holding hands beneath a sun that wore a perpetual smile. One figure stood apart, arms wide open as though inviting the others, all joyous despite the evident divide. This semblance of hope, sketched with a child's simplicity, weighed on him like lead, a bittersweet reminder of the lives altered irrevocably. As the night's solemn rain washed over the world, painting it in reflected hues, Jack fell to his knees. The asphalt cut into him, cold and unyielding. "Lord of mercy," he whispered, his voice fragile like autumn leaves carried on the wind. "Why couldn't I save them all? I did what I could, but it's not enough." He let the still night carry his question skyward, each word a plea edged with pain, casting it into the vast unknown, hoping for an answer. As the night's solemn rain washed over the world, painting it in effective hues, Jack fell to his knees. The asphalt cut into him, cold and unyielding. "Lord of mercy," he whispered, his voice fragile like autumn leaves carried on the wind. "Why couldn't I save them all? I did what I could, but it's not enough." He let the still night carry his question skyward, each word a plea edged with pain, casting it into the vast unknown, hoping for an answer. Jack lingered there, his head bowed beneath the silent strength of the rain, feeling the reins of his guilt tighten their grip on his soul. The question of worth gnawed at him incessantly, a storm brewing within. Yet in that silent vigil, amidst the gentle symphony of raindrops came a whisper, an ethereal nudge, not of his own making. "Listen, my child," it seemed to say like a breath carried on the wind, tender and poignant. "In your striving, do not forget the ones you have saved. Walk the path of wholeness by seeing through the eyes of grace, not judgment." Jack's heart, bruised and restless, felt a stirring within, a warmth spreading across the cold expanse of his spirit. He inhaled deeply, letting the night air fill his lungs, a potent blend of rain and renewal enveloping him. With each breath, he became acutely aware of the sacred simplicity, the boundless enormity of life amidst its ruins. He realized then that he had not been alone during the flames nor in the echoing recesses of his anguish. The shepherd of his soul had walked beside him, emboldening his resolve, steadying his hands even in the shadow of regret. With the dawning light, Jack rose. The night's rain had left the world cleansed, and the clear sky now hinted at a gentle promise of new beginnings. As he stood at the threshold of the sunlight-dappled street, a shift had occurred within him. The guilt lingered, but it was now muted, transformed into a deep yearning for action. With a purposeful stride, he made his way to the hospital where the girl lay recovering. A survivor like himself, his heart, though heavy, was buoyed by an underlying current of healing. The nurse at the entrance greeted him with a soft smile as he entered, and the girl's eyes lit up, shining like beacons of resilience and life. Taking his cue, he knelt beside her bed, unfolding the drawing she had entrusted to him. Her smile broadened, illuminating her face, a sight that rekindled the embers of hope within him. "I wanted you to have it," she said, her voice a melody steeped in innocent courage. "Thank you," he replied, his voice anchored in the present moment. "It reminds me of what's truly important." As he prepared to leave, Jack turned back to her, his voice gentle and filled with newfound wisdom. "Sometimes," he said, "we're asked to walk paths we do not understand. But it is in that walking we find strength we never knew we had." Holy One, teach my heart to see the blessing in life's ashes. Guide my steps on the path of wholeness and grace. Let your voice be my compass through the night. Fill my spirit with courage and compassion in you. clothe the cold in winter. Cacti, shadows of need. The classroom buzzes with youthful chatter, a symphony of laughter and secrets. Each voice carries a piece of a story, a thread in life's tapestry. I steady my hand on the chalkboard, feeling its resistance as the chalk snaps, much like my own spirit on the brink of breaking. The sun dips behind the horizon, its golden hue casting long shadows across the floor, brushing the faded walls with twilight's touch. The heater's hum is a feudal guardian against the cold seeping through the building, wrapping around me as my gaze finds Lena in the corner, her coat worn thin, whispers of prayers I utter nightly, yearning for hope amid frayed dreams. The bell tolls, dispersing the crowd into silence. The classroom, once alive, now rests in peaceful stillness. I linger in this sacred pause, touching my forehead to the cool slate, whispering, Lord of mercy, guide my steps. Show me how to help, I feel so small. The walls absorb my plea, the air holding its breath within me. An answer resonates, clothe the cold. It ignites a candle within, a flicker of hope in the threatening shadows. Darks claims the world, shadows tracing the tile floor's lines. Mysteries only night deciphers. I leave the door ajar, a silent invitation to those seeking sanctuary. From my bag, I extract a sandwich wrapped in wax paper and a polished apple, humble offerings of sustenance and love. Each act, an unspoken prayer, plants seeds of kindness at Lena's desk. Holy Shepherd, I whisper into the room's quiet sanctuary. Bless this child. May she find comfort in unexpected places. Silence envelops me, broken only by the wind's whispers against the panes. The mingled scents of chalk and evening meals stir memories of warmth, family and hope. The turning, as I gather my things to leave. The door nudges open, barely a sigh. Lena steps in, cheeks kissed by the cold eyes searching. She spots the meal in her desk, her fingers brushing the apple's smooth surface. Surprise blooms in her smile, a fragile hope in her winter world. She glances my way, her eyes echoing my unspoken prayer. In the stillness, I offer another prayer, a thread of courage cast into the void. Lord, make me brave enough to love as you love. Her silent gratitude speaks volumes as she clutches the apple like the sun itself. In this shared moment, I understand the power of compassion, a love lived through action, touch and exchange, a warmth and understanding. This moment ignites a desire to do more, to be more, to reveal God's love's invisible threads. Light in the cold, the walk home is crisp, each breath a visible cloud, each step a whisper against the night's chill. Yet within me burns a lightness, a clarity guiding me home, illuminating my path like street lamps awaken along the road. I resolve that tomorrow will herald a call to action. I'll gather the students, uniting them in a project of heart, a coat collection for those like Lena, needing warmth and assurance they are not alone. Our prayers will unite, our actions testify to a shared vision of love woven into our lives. The lingering echo of God's voice, clothed the cold, reassures me. His presence is in each gesture, each coat given, each life touched by kindness. Holy One, guide my heart to see your children in need. Grant me courage to act, to share warmth in cold times. May your love be my constant counsel. May my life honor your call. Shelter those who shiver, cloak them in your grace and peace.
The broken chalk. As the final bell pierced through the air, the classroom erupted into a cacophony of laughter and movement. Children scrambled to gather their belongings, their voices echoing like a joyous symphony that reverberated off the old wooden floors and walls adorned with colorful drawings. The sun's rays streamed through tall windows, casting ethereal patterns across the room, where Miss Clara stood observing her students with a weary yet affectionate gaze. Inhaling deeply, the familiar scent of chalk mingled with pencil shavings, a bittersweet reminder of nostalgia and fatigue. The remnants of the day's lessons lingered in the air, a tapestry of effort woven with patience and dedication. Exhaustion clung to her like a heavy cloak. Its weight almost tangible, her fingers trembled as she picked up a piece of chalk, snapping it with an audible crack that silenced the room. Her heart mirrored the broken chalk, heavy with weariness, a symbolic fracture of her spirit. In that solitary moment, she whispered a desperate prayer in her heart. Lord of mercy, I am weary and overwhelmed. Show me how to reach them. Amidst the chaos, her prayer rose like a fragrant offering. She felt a divine caress soothing her spirit, soft as the first snow falling in silence. Gentle yet profound, it was as if time paused and the room once filled with eager children now held the whisper of God's presence, subtle but undeniable. With the classroom now empty, Clara noticed a figure lingering by the window. James, a young boy with eyes that spoke of stories untold, traced patterns on the glass. His worn clothes barely shielded him from the autumn breeze. The chill and uninvited companion, Clara felt a divine urging, a whisper from above. Be the voice of mercy. Clara approached quietly, her footsteps light yet determined. James, she called softly, her voice a thread of warmth in the cool room. Why don't you come with me for a moment? In the dimly lit classroom kitchen, Clara retrieved a sandwich and an apple from her bag, offering them to James. She watched his eyes widen with hunger and awe, the simple offering taking on the gravity of a feast. The innocence of his expression moved her deeply, a testament to the silent struggles he faced. For you, she assured kindly. James hesitated, then accepted the food with a shy nod, whispering, "Thank you, Miss Clara." His gratitude wrapped around her heart, turning the ordinary moment into something sacred. As God's presence enveloped them with peace, in that quiet exchange, the room transformed into a sanctuary of compassion, where acts of kindness became vessels of divine mercy. The turning prayer. That evening, Clara knelt on her living room carpet, the soft fibers cushioning her knees as she sought solace and strength outside. Dusk faded into deep indigo, the world slipping into the gentle embrace of night. She prayed words of surrender and transformation. Shepherd of my soul, thank you for guiding me today. Grant me courage to be your hands and voice. In the stillness, peace filled the space, an assurance as solid as the earth beneath her knees. The boundaries of her small room expanded to encompass a vastness where divine whispers met her longings. Clara realized that mercy was not just an act. It was a way of living, grace woven into the fabric of daily life. Her heart, once burdened, now felt light, buoyed by the understanding that she was not alone in her journey. shadows of hope. The next morning dawned bright, the sky painted with the promise of a new beginning. And Clara entered her classroom with renewed purpose. The early light painted long shadows across the desks, each offering its promise. Each child was a divine tapestry unfolding, intricate threads woven by divine hands. Clara felt the weight of her calling lift, replaced by a buoyant energy, remnants of her prayer, infusing hope into her spirit. As the children filled the room with chatter, Clara noticed James's subtle transformation. A smile playing at his lips began with a simple lunch. It was a whisper of God's mercy, realized through gentle acts in everyday life. Her heart sang a quiet hymn of praise, sensing the Holy One's guidance in every step under the sun's gaze. She understood that each day brought new opportunities to manifest God's love, to reflect His light in the world. Lord of mercy, your light guides me through shadows. Grant me strength to be your voice of kindness. Help me to walk in love and service each day. May your mercy flow through my action and word. Amen.
Dusk settled quietly over the riverbank. A gentle rain transforming cobbled stones into glistening jewels. Each drop a whispered secret, a balm to the day's burdens. The rhythmic patter was a familiar lullaby, harmonizing with the dim hum of distant city life. I sat under the street lamp's warm glow, my guitar resting across my knees like a loyal companion. Normally, the notes I played spoke directly to my soul, drawing solace from the gentle vibrations. But in an unexpected moment, a string snapped. Its sharp dissonance mirrored my fragile heart and echoed in the hollow cavity of the instrument. Shadows stretched from the orange-lit windows of nearby homes, flickering like the passage of time. Each light a beacon in the gathering darkness. Lord of mercy, what do I do now? I murmured to the night, my words mingling with the rain and the soft sigh of the river. My fingers brushed the broken string, the cool metal speaking of things unraveling. I had come here seeking direction, the peace my melodies once gave. As twilight deepened, I closed my eyes. Burdened by my troubles, in that sacred pause, I whispered a prayer. Holy One, guide me, I feel so lost. My words were a plea to the one who creates beauty from chaos, a request for calm amidst the disarray. The rain continued its gentle dance, crafting a symphony of droplets that caressed the earth. My eyes opened to see an old man passing by, his umbrella tilted jauntily against the drizzle. His steps were measured and sure, each one a deliberate engagement with the world, a testament to life's journey. His presence was a reminder of the courage needed to traverse life's winding paths. As he passed, he hummed a melody, unfamiliar yet invigorating, each note imbued with a wisdom that transcended words. The melody lingered in the air, wrapping around my heart and stirring my soul. The weight of the snap string seemed lighter as his hum echoed. Listen, child. It invited me to awaken to forgotten music, a song that beckoned from beyond the ordinary, shepherd of my soul. I prayed, voice trembling with quiet longing. Is this your sign? Will you renew me through this silence, through this unmet song? The prayer bridged my yearning to the divine, hope flickering like dawn on the horizon. I sat in silence, rain mingling with tears tracing down my cheeks, mingling in a dance of release and renewal. The stranger's hum played in my mind, merging with my prayer, weaving a tapestry of grace and possibility. An unseen force stirred within me. To follow this unfathomed guidance rising, I set my guitar aside and hummed the man's tune. This simple act transformed me, rain and rhythm cleansing my spirit. I prayed again, a prayer of turning, a plea for renewal. Lord, forgive my stubborn heart. Let me embrace this path you lay before me. Give me courage to act, to mend what's broken. Each word was a step toward healing, a note in the song of restoration. With renewed purpose, I walked along the river, the stranger's melody now a part of my own, humming as if to call forth something new. Knocking on doors with orange windows, I sought an old guitar string, sharing joy in a new song. Many declined, yet each inquiry was an act of faith, proof of belief in a purpose not yet fully seen. That belief sang within, filling spaces once occupied by doubt. Returning to my spot, the rain ceased, leaving the air alive with possibility. Silence held a promise, as if the earth paused to listen with bated breath. I restrung my guitar, the stranger's tune weaving through my fingers into a new melody. One of redemption and renewal, light piercing the clouds of despair. The strings beneath my fingers felt like threads in a grand tapestry of hope. As the first notes rang, blending with the river's gentle murmur, warmth of divine guidance whispered to my soul. You are not alone, it seemed to say, enveloping me in a transcendent love that transcended the night shadows. The music lived, inviting others to join, a testament to faith's power and grace's unending reach. Passers-by gathered, drawn by the compelling song of prayer answered, light found in darkness. The harmony beneath the clouds returned, a symphony of connection, reborn, resonating through the night with sacred promise. beginnings. I thank you for your light, guiding me through the night.
seminarian Simon felt adrift in a spiritual fog. Dawn's cool air whispered through stone arches, mingling the scent of dew-laden grass with the chapel's ancient stones. A shaft of pale light pierced the stained glass, painting the pews in ephemeral hues. Outside, birds welcome the day with song, but inside Simon, a cold unease gripped his heart. Simon knelt at the altar where the chapel lamp flickered, fighting against doubt. Though trained in prayer, his heart longed for a connection deeper than words. An old priest's words echoed in his mind. Sometimes the holiest prayers are born from listening. Shepherd of my soul, Simon whispered, his voice a fragile thread in the silence. Guide me through this storm of doubt. Help me hear your voice in the silence. In silence, the heart speaks. The chapel doors creaked open as Father Thomas entered. His presence as comforting as the morning light. His footsteps were a rhythmic accompaniment to the silence, each step an assertion of faith. Simon watched the old priest whose eyes rested on the flickering lamp, his face a canvas of prayers past. Father Thomas sat beside Simon, saying nothing, offering a silent solidarity that eased Simon's heart. His next prayer became an invitation for peace, a sacred conversation with the divine. Holy One, Simon breathed, hands clasped. If you wish for me to walk into this wind of uncertainty, grant me courage, even when the path is unclear. He listened, not for words, but for a stillness beyond understanding. Within that silence came a subtle nudge, gentle as dawn's first light. Walk forward, it seemed to say, and I will guide you through the unseen. Step into the light, resolve to act on the divine whisper. Simon rose, faith settling into his bones, leaving the chapel. His footsteps echoed like drum beats, a symphony of newfound resolve. The morning air kissed his cheeks, reminding him of the world's raw beauty, awaiting
testament to new beginnings. He pondered the call, not as a test of endurance, but as a journey toward trust. With each step, the burden of knowing lifted, replaced by the joy of discovery. The morning sun lit his path, chasing away shadows of doubt. Trust, he realized, was not demanded but invited. A deeper relationship with the Lord, a journey marked by grace and renewal, each dawn promising rebirth. Lord of mercy, shepherd of my soul, in silence, teach me to listen. Guide my steps into the unknown, and grant me the courage to trust. Let your light lead me home. Amen. Amen. In the vast, echoing cathedral, where stones breathe with prayers of countless souls, Louis diligently mopped the cool marble floors. The cathedral was a monument to faith, with towering walls and stained glass that glowed, even in darkness. For Louis, the night shifts were a solitary retreat beneath the arches that captured dawn's light with ethereal grace. The swish of water across the polished floors became a sacred rhythm, enveloping the vast space in tranquility. An air of hushed reverence accompanied his steps, with the silent pipe organ looming like a slumbering giant in the shadowed corners. Louis paused, leaning tiredly on the mop, despite the grandeur, archways that soared heavenward, stained glass casting holy colors. He felt an overwhelming loneliness behind the vastness of the architecture. There was a distance that troubled him. His prayers had become perfunctory, a litany of rote lines instead of genuine conversations with the Holy One he longed to know. Lord of mercy, he began, his voice a fragile whisper. I want to belong to you, to this place, to something more. His words floated upward like incense, disappearing into the cavernous silence. He stood motionless, listening for a sign, enveloped by quiet. The old stones kept their secrets in sacred stillness. A glimmer of dawn, a glowly brushed its first blush across the stained glass windows, spilling golden light over the pews like a promise fulfilled. Dust motes danced in the air, turned to specks of gold. Louis noticed the organist, a solemn woman with a hastily tied bun, entering quietly. She nodded briefly before coaxing hesitant notes from the time-worn keys. Trying to shake off the melancholy clinging to him, Louis resumed his work. Yet the organ's voice rose, cascading through the cathedral, stirring something deep within him. Each note seemed to weave a connection between heaven and earth, pulling at his soul. He stopped once more, drawn to his knees before the altar where the light pooled at his feet. Shepherd of my soul, he prayed with surprising urgency. Show me how to serve you truly. I am lost, but seek your truth. Guide me in humility, so I might find peace. His voice quivered with desperation and hope. A warmth settled over him, enfolding him like a woven blanket on a cold night. A subtle reassurance, not in words, but in the tender warmth of light on his face. This warmth filled the space, making the vast cathedral feel intimate and alive with divine presence. The courage to belong
Reassured and renewed, Louis rose to his feet, feeling new resolve. After the service concluded, he approached the organist, whose music had woven a profound sense of belonging within him. It was as if the notes she played had unlocked something in his heart. He hesitated, heart pounding, but spoke with newfound courage. I feel called to learn to play alongside the liturgy. He confessed humility in his words. She regarded him with a knowing smile, her eyes softening as if recognizing the transformation. Come to practice tomorrow, she offered, her eyes sparkling, filled with understanding. Her smile was a balm to his soul, acknowledging his journey from isolation to community. Louis nodded, a weight lifting from his shoulders as he turned back to work, heart lightened with quiet joy that infused purpose into each motion. The organ's echoes lingered, promising new beginnings. Holy One, illuminate the path of truth before me. Guide my steps with humility, and let my hands serve you faithfully. Thank you for transforming my loneliness into your embrace. May my heart forever seek your presence in all I do. Amen.
Night vigil. The hospital corridor stretched ahead, its sterile white tiles cold, reflecting the dimming twilight with an eerie glow. The windows at the end of the hallway glowed orange with the setting sun, casting long shadows that danced like restless spirits against the walls. I sat in a plastic chair, its rigid frame molded to my weary shape, the chill seeping through my thin coat, waiting as the seconds tumbled by with agonizing slowness. My father's lay in the room nearby, his health suspended by a thread spun delicately by the Lord of Mercy. Around me, the ward was a symphony of quiet, punctuated only by the soft shuffle of nurses' shoes and the rhythmic beeping of monitors, each sound a heartbeat of its own. The air was tinged with the faint scent of antiseptic, a reminder of the sterile battle fought daily within these walls. I clasped my hands tightly, knuckles white with anxiety, and bowed my head, the weight of uncertainty pressing down heavily upon me. Lord of Mercy, I whispered, the words tumbling out like a plea through lips chapped from worry. Please be with my father. I don't know what to do or how to feel. Help me find strength and peace. The fluorescent lights above flickered briefly, a stutter of illumination, and for a moment I felt a mantle of calm settle over me like a gentle whisper of reassurance in the dark. A nurse passed by, pausing to offer a small, encouraging smile that seemed to light up her whole face. Her presence was like a balm, a silent witness to my prayer, grounding me in the reality of the moment. With her comforting aura, she brought warmth into the sterile atmosphere, reminding me that sometimes God works His grace through the hands of others. The dusk surrendered to the embrace of night. I found myself stepping outside the hospital, seeking solace beneath a vast, star-studded sky. The air was cool and crisp, an inviting contrast to the stuffy confines of the ward. I pulled my phone from my pocket, its screen glowing like a lighthouse amid the encroaching darkness, casting pale shadows on my face marred by fatigue. My finger swiped through the contacts, pausing on a name burdened with echoes of guilt and unresolved anger, a bitter remnant of time past. With a heart thudding in uneven rhythm, I dialed my brother's number. The relationship we shared had been fractured by harsh words and prideful silence, a chasm that had only grown with the passage of years. The phone rang once, twice, and then his voice came through, tentative and thick with surprise and perhaps a trace of hope. Before I could speak, I closed my eyes. Inhaling deeply to steady my racing heart, I offered a silent prayer, reaching out to the divine for guidance. Holy One, guide me in this moment. Grant me the grace to mend what is broken. Our conversation began with hesitant words, each syllable a careful step on a fragile bridge of reconciliation. But as we talked, we stumbled at first, then found a rhythm, like old music rediscovered in the quiet of an abandoned room. I confessed my regrets, allowing vulnerability to seep through the cracks of my pride. He responded in kind, his words a mirror to my own, each phrase a brick in rebuilding the trust we had lost. The knot within my chest loosened, a hint of dawn breaking within the night of my soul, promising brighter days ahead. Morning light. By the time dawn's first light crept into the world, its pale gold hues painted the hospital in a new light. Chasing away the shadows of night, I stood by my father's bedside, his breath slow and labored, but steady, a gentle metronome marking the rhythm of life. The room was soft with the sounds of quietly humming machines and the occasional murmur from the staff, a symphony of healing that played softly in the background. I sat beside him, taking his hand, still strong despite the illness that had ravaged his body. A fresh sense of hope filled the space between us, unlike the night before when despair had been my only companion. The room seemed brighter, the future more promising, a canvas of possibilities painted with the colors of grace. Kneeling on the floor, I prayed once more, this time with a heart full of gratitude rather than desperation. Shepherd of my soul, thank you for guiding me towards reconciliation. Thank you for the new dawn, for your grace that covers my guilt. His grip tightened around my fingers, as if in silent agreement, and a peaceful understanding flowed between us, a reminder that grace indeed surpasses guilt. The warmth of his hand was a tangible sign that healing had begun, not just in his body, but in the bonds of family.
Lord of mercy, thank you for the gift of reconciliation, for healing the rifts that divide us, and for your grace that mends our hearts. Let your light guide us to peace. Amen. Knock and the door will open. Echoes in the dawn. The mountain road curled upward, weaving through ancient trees and rocky outcrops, a testament to nature's spirit. Wrapped in dawn's light, Miriam walks steadily, each step a quiet symphony. In the still morning, her breath formed soft clouds in the crisp air as she clutched an unsent letter. Years of longing and hope folded into its fragile pages. A plea for reconciliation with her estranged father. Pausing at a lookout, Miriam gazed at the horizon, where the world seemed to meld into the sky. Dappled with orange hues, the serene expanse stretched endlessly, offering a calming promise. Kneeling on a cold stone, Miriam prayed, her words of humble plea. Holy One, I've tried so long to understand. Show me how to repair this brokenness, for I am weary and without answers. The wind carried her words upward, intertwining with the world's breath. She listened intently as a gentle rustling in the trees seemed to reply, be still and know. Her heart held the echo, a balm on her soul. Rising, she felt hope take root amidst the frost. As dusk threaded shadows through cobbled streets, Miriam stood outside her father's home. Warmth spilled from orange-lit windows, casting a glow across the snow-dusted ground. The letter in her pocket felt heavier with each step, a symbol of unspoken words and unresolved tensions. Memories replayed, harsh words the day she left, the long silence. These echoed in her heart, leaving an ache, seeking solace. She entered a nearby chapel, its ancient stones imbued with prayers of countless souls. Inside she lit a candle, its flickering light a companion in the darkness. Kneeling she prayed, Lord of mercy, I surrender this fear and pride. Give me courage to extend my hand in peace. Guide me with wisdom to mend what I have broken. Lingering in the silence, she felt her confessions wait, as a divine warmth spread through her, whispering reassurance. The candle's flame steadied, lighting the path of forgiveness and love, a journey of peace. That night, rain had washed the world anew. Miriam stood at her father's threshold, heart pounding with fear and anticipation. The air thick with possibilities, tentatively knocking. Her hand trembled, the door creaked open, revealing her father, his surprise softening into longing and love. Miriam, he breathed, voice cracking with disbelief and hope. Stepping forward, she offered the letter, trembling at the moment's weight. Before you read this, I wanna say I'm sorry for everything. He took the letter, eyes moist, but set it aside, embracing her. And that embrace was an unspoken promise. I've missed you. Daughter, can we start again? His words wrapped around her like a cherished memory, warmth unfurling in her heart. She sensed God's presence, a silent assurance that this was the beginning of restoration, where heartache gave way to healing, and past fractures could be mended with love, waiting to be rekindled. Close and purge my soul. Thank you for guiding my heart to forgiveness. Transform my steps to follow your way of love, unwavering and true. In moments of doubt, remind me of your constant presence and grace. May your peace reign in our renewed bond, a testament to your mercy. Amen.
Bread of heaven. The early hours, as dawn blushed the horizon with a tender palette of pinks and oranges, Marco entered the old bakery with quiet reverence, preserving the peacefulness of the sleeping world beyond the bakery. Nestled within the heart of a bustling neighborhood, held a sacred stillness, poised for the day ahead. Marco, a recent immigrant, carried dreams as fragile as the morning light and uncertainties as vast as the sky. Yet in these early hours, he found solace. Flower danced like sacred snowflakes in the gentle light filtering through the window panes. And Marco, with hopes and fears threaded into every fiber of his being, sought refuge in his work, quietly praying,
Lord of mercy, bless these hands, guide me today. He kneaded the dough, the rhythm of silent communion with God, a tactile hymn of faith.
as the sun rose further, casting a warm glow upon the streets. His mind drifted to his rival Thomas, whose low prices and aggressive marketing were drawing customers away. Worry crept in, unwelcome, threatening the fragile tranquility he worked so hard to maintain. Overwhelmed by uncertainty, Marco paused, his hands resting on the smooth, forgiving surface of the dough. He shut his eyes, surrendering to the need for divine intervention. In the quiet breath of the morning, he sought refuge in prayer. Shepherd of my soul, I am lost. Show me the way, he implored, pouring his fears and yearnings into the silence that cradled his words. Rain began to trace lines down the windows, each droplet a gentle reminder of of God's unyielding presence, a cleansing wave to wash over his troubled heart. There was no thunderous revelation, no grand vision to guide his path, just a quiet nudge of peace urging him back to his work, free from resentment, the promise of serenity in each fold of the dough. The gentle nudge. The bakery soon hummed with activity, the warm, yeasty aroma of bread baking enveloping the space like a comforting embrace. Yet Marco's thoughts lingered on the omnipresent competition, drawing him away from the joy of his craft. Seeking solace once more, he closed his eyes, listening for the faint whisper of the Lord's wisdom, waiting with an open heart. A quiet whisper settled over him, reminding him of kindness and encouraging him to reach beyond securities, to find strength in unity rather than division. With the rain's soft rhythm against the windows, Marco felt the divine nudge, gentle yet persistent, guiding him towards compassion. Selecting a warm loaf from the cooling rack, he packed it carefully, a decision aligning with his heart's rhythm, his soul's quiet melody.
Sharing the bread, soon Marco stood outside Thomas' bakery, the city shimmering with rain and scattered light. Each raindrop testified to faith, each sunbeam a balm to wounds long held. Hesitating pride clinging to him with stubborn fingers, the prayer echoed within, urging him forward. Thomas answered the door, surprise marking his features, curiosity flickering in his eyes.
We may be competitors, but we are also neighbors, Marco said, extending the loaf with a steady hand. May this bread bless you as God has blessed me. Thomas, struck by the gesture, accepted it with a tentative smile, an act transcending words, dissolving tensions, revealing divine grace in human exchange, bridging the gap between rivalry and neighborly love. A new dawn away, the rivalry's burden lifted, the air crisp with the promise of new beginnings. In his heart's quiet space, he grasped that true victory lay not in competition, but in compassion, a truth that unfolded when attuned to God's gentle nudges, whispered within the rain, revealed in shared loaves of bread.
Holy One who whispers in the rain and meets us in our need, give us ears to hear your gentle call. May our hands always seek to bless and our hearts remain open to your divine guidance. Lead us on paths of peace and love in every act of kindness. Let us find your presence. Amen. Restores the broken, not done. night's vigil. The hospital stillness is eerie, shadows stretching beneath flickering light. Winter's chill seeps through my coat as I sit outside, room 214, holding a rosary. The beats are familiar yet foreign tonight, each a link to memories and desperate prayers. Lord of mercy, I whisper, my voice barely audible amidst machine hums and distant murmurs. Please guide us through this darkness. I close my eyes, letting the prayer rise from deep within. Each beat a rhythm of hope against the uncertainty. A nurse appears, her grace a balm to my frayed nerves. Her presence, a silent kindness, acknowledges my vigil with empathetic eyes. She moves with purpose, her calm displacing the shadows in my soul. I find myself praying, shepherd of my soul, grant me peace to bear witness to, as fear begins to soften, replaced by a tentative peace, weaving fear and faith into strength. The cell phone vibrates in my pocket, breaking the sacred quiet. It's a call long awaited, a bridge feared broken. My fingers hesitate, tracing the phone as if seeking courage. The nurse's nod encourages me to step into the snowy night, where falling flakes mirror the quietude of my heart. The cold air is sharp yet refreshing, a baptism into a moment of decision. My fingers fumble to answer, the cold biting insistently hello. My voice trembles like autumn leaves, brittle with fear. The silence between heartbeats is filled with anticipation. The voice on the other end is familiar, hesitant, the echoes of past grievances hanging between us. But then I'm sorry, the words awkward yet hopeful, a promise of reconciliation and grace. They melt the ice in my heart. I'm sorry too, I reply, words heavy with grace. I didn't know I had an unspoken prayer form, surrendering past hurt to God's forgiveness. Peace unfolds, a tangible presence weaving through my weary heart. Snow falls gently, each flake a whispered blessing. The turning point, back in the hallway, I pause outside the door. The nurse is beside me, her presence a steady candle flame. Silence feels sacred, promising renewal. I fold my hands, warmth returning, a signal of new beginnings. Holy One, grant us courage to rebuild. I pray, heart open to unknown steps, whispering that God's presence guides us in this silent birth of resolve. I feel God's whisper, a promise of His presence on the uncharted path. Silence breathes assurance that His light will illuminate our way. Lord of new beginnings,
quiet hour, hear our hearts guide us to mend what's broken with grace abundant and love unending. In your light, we find our way. Amen. Under the stars, the dashboard clock glowed defiantly, reading 3:47 a.m. as my truck halted at a secluded rest stop beneath a vast starlit sky. The cold bite of late autumn gnawed at my bones, forcing me to clutch my jacket tighter with a weary sigh. I turned off the engine, embracing the silence. Stepping out, I watched my breath curl into the frosty air, a ghostly life reminder. The stars above twinkled, a timeless rhythm, guiding lost souls through the darkness. Something stirred within as I gazed at the infinite expanse, momentarily freeing my spirit from earthly burdens. The quiet pulsed with life, each star a silent testament to untold stories. I felt the knot inside me slowly unfurl, as if the stars whispered liberation. Lord of mercy, I prayed, my words a mere breath against the wind. Help me to forgive myself. They were lilies laden with my journey's weight, a father who abandoned his responsibilities but now yearned to make amends. The crisp air wrapped around me soothingly, and I imagine my whispers ascending, twinkling among the stars, reaching the heavens where angels might gather my pleas. The rest stop was muffled, cloaked in profound stillness. As if the world held its breath, I settled onto a bench amid skeletal trees, etched against the dawn sky. The air was earthy, tinged with leaves and distant breezes. In the pre-dawn quiet, I pulled out my phone, its cold surface tingling with memories of unanswered calls, a device with so much connection potential. With a deep sigh, I bowed my head, eyes closing, shepherd of my soul. I whispered, voice trembling with honesty, I am lost and have hurt those I love. Guide me back to them. My thoughts drifted unbidden to my daughter, her laughter a distant melody, a cherished memory, echoing in my heart there. In silence I felt a gentle assurance surging me onward, filling me with quiet determination. As dawn's first hints painted the sky, the horizon glowed with pinks and golds, promising renewal. Cool air invigorated my spirit. Trembling I dialed her number,
featuring a heartbeat of hope in silence. My heart thudded in my chest, its rhythm a prayer of longing for reconciliation. Hello, her voice, tentative yet familiar, unfurled like first blooms post-winter, words caught in my throat. But I breathed out courage, it's me, Dad. I managed, breath visible in the chilled morning. I just wanted to say I'm sorry truly. The words simple yet profound hung in the air, a bridge over time's chasm. The following silence was thick, yet not hostile. It was a gentle carving of space, a bridge forming over years of separation. I've been praying for this, she finally said, her voice softening, shared warmth blossoming in reconciliation's dawning light. I smiled through tears, a symbolic key turning in my heart as we spoke. Light swelled, erasing the shadows from the world and my soul. My steps as I seek to mend what is broken. Fill my heart with courage to act upon your will. Renew my spirit with your boundless love, so I may share your light with others in your name. I find my path. Amen. Heaven's promise in the parched field, at thy cracks in the earth. Morning arrived quietly, wrapped in the cold breath of winter, as I stood at the field's edge, staring at what had once been full of promise. The earth lay cracked, its barren tapestry, mocking my labor and dreams, now clinging desperately to hopes of a harvest. Months of drought had drained the land's vitality, leaving it dusty and lifeless, a mere shadow of the vibrant green it once was. The sun, a silent witness to my despair, rose slowly, casting pale light over the land, deepening the shadows in the crevices and mirroring the sorrow in my heart. I knelt, feeling the earth stride, rough texture clinging to my fingertips, so vocative of the hopelessness rooted within me. With eyes closed, I sought solace in the sacred silence. A single tear trailed through the dust on my cheek. I whispered, Lord of mercy, I am lost in this dryness. How long must I wait for your rain? Guide me through this barren season, for I have worn thin beneath its unyielding weight. The heavy silence was broken only by the distant cawing of crows, circling like shadows in the
the sky. Rising slowly, the flicker of my hope struggled to stay lit against the encroaching doubts. The day stretched ahead, an empty canvas, yet I stepped forward, cradling a fragile flame of faith within my heart. A call in the silence. Days melted into weeks, each one echoing relentless dryness like a timeless refrain of desolation. My faith, once strong, felt as parched as the land under my feet. One evening, under the first glimmer of stars, I retreated to the porch, seeking solace in the cool breeze. The world exhaled a quiet chorus of night, a lullaby contrasting the turmoil within me. With bowed head I closed my heart to all but God, shepherd of my soul. I prayed, voice raw with need and longing. I surrender my pride and fear. Teach me to trust your timing, even when I cannot see a way through this drought. A sudden peace enveloped me like a warm shawl, as if God whispered encouragement. His presence settled, inspiring an illogical urge to water the field, despite its arid surface seemingly absurd. Yet faith often sprouts in the impossible. Drawn into this quiet challenge, I found comfort in stars, steadfast in the night. Seeds of trust with a new courage, I filled the old rain barrel the next morning and carried water to the field. The bucket was heavy, each step pressing determination into the earth. Water cascaded, tracing intricate paths, and with each drop I echoed Jesus' calming words to steady my doubt. My calloused hands, stained with earth, became vessels of trust, channeling hope into the barren ground. Each day the ritual continued. Neighbors watched, puzzled, murmuring about futility. Yet I persisted, a new rhythm beat in my heart. Trust, steady tempo, propelling me forward. Watering the field became prayer, surrender to God's unseen work. Faith refusing to yield, though still parched. The land softened under my touch, whispering a promise yet to be fulfilled. When heaven weeps, summer arrived with cicada song, a vibrant testament to life's persistence. One afternoon by the field, anticipation tingled along my skin. A promise near clouds gathered, heavy with promise, their edges kissed by sunlight. A celestial painting of hope renewed. The first tentative drops fell like a whisper before the storm. Then the heavens opened wide, pouring life onto the thirsty earth with love's boundless urgency. I stood, arms wide, welcoming grace's deluge, rain mingling with tears of gratitude and relief. The world's weight lifted, carried away in the gentle roar, whispering renewal into my soul. As water seeped into soil, the ground softened, yielding under hope renewed. A divine whisper echoed in the rain's heartbeat. pours itself out. Lord of the